it was dusty as shit last night. Fucking all this got me messed up.
Yeah, that track gets a little dry pretty quick.
It was pretty good though, man. I mean, that was only my second time running there. I ran Stallnaker's car last year, and it was racy, man. It was fun.
Oh, I love that racetrack. I can't wait to get back up there.
Yeah, I think we might go back this coming weekend.
There we go, 10-4.
Is East Bay racing Street Stocks again this weekend?
Yeah, we're on the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I may bring it with my modified for the Dixon then.
There you go. Hell yeah. East Bay was rougher than shit last night.
Was it?
Yeah, it was real wet, and then them front wheel drives got there and they just dig it up.
They just run it, man. I mean, they're literally like a hog, like running. It's ridiculous.
Oh. Share it to a few more groups here.
I would, but if I close this out, I think it's going to probably disconnect me. My browser.
Gotcha. You're good. Zach should be on here in a second, but let's see. Oh, there he is. What's up, Zach?
Oh, shit. Running around town.
Getting your laps in, huh?
Yeah.
Well, alrighty. So we'll go down here and see where was that timer at. So we'll start the countdown going, and then we'll get the show started. All right, guys. Welcome in episode 56 of the Let's Go Carl podcast. I am Big Carl.
I'm almost Carl.
And joining us today, we've got open wheel modified standout, Devin McLeod.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I think it's going to be a good show. We'll get to know a little bit more about you and your career and how you got going from the asphalt to the dirt world. So we'll get started here with some basic questions. So just go ahead and tell everybody who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, Devin McLeod, Zephyr Hills, Florida. Been racing for 24 years now. Started in go-karts on dirt and had some opportunities, and that took me to the asphalt world and played around there for about 15 years and was kind of get burnt out and started racing dirt and fell in love with the sport all over again.
There you go. All right, and so what got you started in it to begin with?
My family was really big into it. My uncle, had a couple of uncles, Randy Storr, and then I'm sure most people know Bobby Alexander. He's my uncle. And growing up, just going more of my Uncle Randy, going to watch pretty much every Saturday night. And then I remember like it was yesterday, I was 7 years old. My dad picked me up from one of my buddy's house and asked if I'd ever thought if I wanted to race. And I said, absolutely. Well, he'd already bought me a go-kart. So we the first year we raced and played baseball. And I had to make a decision to give one up because our Saturdays were starting at 7 o'clock in the morning because he was the coach, and ending at like 1, 2 o'clock the next morning, and it was just
Yeah.
too much. And just picked racing, and here we are. Like I said, 20 something years later, still doing it.
Yeah, I feel you there. I had to make the same decision to either keep racing go-karts on Friday nights at East Bay or keep playing baseball, and go-karts was a little bit more fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's now that I'm an adult, and my dad, he's still a huge help. We do it together, but a lot of all the money stuff kind of runs through me. And now that I'm an adult, I probably wish I'd have made that baseball
Yeah,
decision, but
it would have been a lot cheaper to stick to the bat and ball.
yeah, no, and now we once we got in, we were in so deep, and this summer's been tough because of obviously all the rain, and iRacing's fun, but there's nothing like the real thing. So I was having some withdrawals, so I was glad to finally get back to the track last night and get some racing in.
Yeah, iRacing is a lot of fun, but you don't get that same feel out of it. And there's a lot of people online that just don't care.
Yeah, I tell you, man, because obviously I'm newer to the dirt, and it's helped me tremendously with like, I guess just my racecraft. I mean, yeah, I've had my modified for I think 3 years now, or it might be two. It's 2 years, and I won my first race at Hendry, which was probably a fluke because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And but being all this off time from racing, at night we put get my son down for bed, and usually I hop on a race or two, and all I do is dirt race anymore on it, and it's really taught me a lot, believe it or not, just kind of paying attention to how tracks change and things like that. And I mean, believe it or not, I was able to use a lot of what I've done on there last night just at Alltech. So
There you go.
yeah, I've got the bug real bad, and like I said, the light was getting dimmer, and then my buddy LJ Grimm, a lot of people know him. He made the switch to dirt. Him and I had talked about it for years, and then I made it, and like I said, it just kind of reignited the spark, and kind of fell in love with it all over again.
Is there anything LJ hasn't driven at this point?
No, he's been in all kinds of stuff. I
I
mean,
mean,
we've even had some damn good 4-wheeler races over the years that might have ended in like a broken collarbone or two by myself, but it's yeah. I mean, and I think that's what makes him so good, right? I mean,
mhm.
he's seen a little bit of everything, done a little bit of everything, and I mean, anything he gets in, he's a threat to win.
Yeah, I think the only thing we haven't seen him actually race was a figure eight car. I don't know if he ever ran it. I know he practiced it, but I don't know if he ever raced it.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever raced one, but and I don't know how much desire he. I'm sure he would, but it's probably not on the top of the list. Them guys they're some crazy ass people.
I think he'd race just about anything, but yeah.
Yep.
All right, so you got that car number 21. Tell us where that came from.
I wish I had a good story, man. I've been asked time after time, and growing up, like I said, my uncle's raced. My Uncle Randy was 90, obviously. Uncle Bobby was 15 or whatever, and my favorite NASCAR driver growing up was Jeff Gordon, and I used to catch a lot of hell for that. But so I started out, I was 24, went to 04. I'd raced mini cups for a little bit. We did like the David Rudiman replica throwback Domino's car. It was 00. And then, believe it or not, our colors were kind of always like black and red. And when I was, I think when I turned 15, we got a legend car. And the guy had just put the car together. Like it was all wrapped. It was beautiful, black, gold, red, like my colors. And it was number 21. And we bought it. And that was it. 21 stuck with me. I kind of started getting some fans that knew me as number 21. And it got to be like, that was just it. So nothing really special as far as that goes. Just it's just circumstance.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just kind of adopt a number.
Yep.
Let's see. So tell us the time that you was the most upset behind the wheel.
Man, I don't know. There's been a lot. It's I when I see red, it's usually only for like a couple seconds at a time. I'm usually able to kind of get out of it pretty quick. There's a couple, before I won the actually the shirt I'm wearing, the Eddie Brown Memorial, which was really one of the biggest, if not the biggest, modified kind of annual modified show there's really ever been in the state of Florida. I think it went on for about 10 or 12 years. Well, every year, man, we were quick time or like, we were usually like one of the two or three to beat. I mean, every year. And it just never worked out. And one year, qualified quick time, took the challenge to come from the back for, I think it was like an extra 10 grand to win it. And man, we had the car to beat. Like, there was no doubt. And just got caught up in somebody else's boneheaded, and for a split second, I gassed it up through the X, and I was getting ready to drive through somebody, and obviously on asphalt, radios and whatnot, and my dad was able to talk me out of it. But believe it or not, most of the time I get pissed off at my old man. But as I've gotten older, I've backed off on that. A lot of those nights ended in, "Hey, Dad, I'm sorry. I realized that I could be an asshole," and seat of the moment. Kind of father son situation. So, besides that, nothing big. Like I said, I try to not let things bother me too bad. Usually, in most cases, I could have done something to probably prevent it, whatever it is that pissed me off. So, I'm not usually one of the hotheads. So I just kind of just talk a lot of shit sometimes, or at least I used to.
Oh man, yeah. Like I've tried telling Zach, a father-son racing dude. There's nothing better, but there's no person that you'll be more upset at than your own father. Sometimes it's
I feel
crazy
like sometimes your
how
dad's
badly you
more
two can
upset than you.
argue.
I feel like your dad's more upset most of the time than you are.
Yeah, there was. I think one of the worst was we were loading. I can't remember. I think we might have been in modified or still been in legend cars, and we were loading up, get ready to go to the track Saturday. It was legend cars because it was modified on asphalt. We'd have been there for three damn days, but it was a Saturday morning. We were loading up, and we disagreed on something. I mean, I was probably 16 and thought I knew everything, and obviously I didn't have a clue. And I don't remember what it was, but he said, "Why are you gonna be such an asshole?" I said, "Because I'm just like you." And and we walked our separate ways. And I'm pretty sure my stepmom was actually sitting outside when this happened, and I don't remember, but I'm sure she probably had a giggle to herself under her breath because yes, I am a lot like my dad, which I'm very very proud of that. But when we butt heads, it shows the most.
Oh yeah, sometimes I have to remind my dad who raised me, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Racing with your dad's got to be the best thing, man.
Yeah, and it's real. It's I've went through a real big kind of transition in my life over the last couple of years. And my son being born, and now seeing like me being the younger guy, like, oh yeah, when I want to have a kid one day, and when that happens, I'll keep doing what I do, and nothing will really change. But the second he came into this world, it changed, right, and it changed for my dad too, and it really just kind of it brought my dad and I closer, and like now like my son's walks to their house 9 times out of 10 with like a little race car in his hand or something, and it's like that lit the fire back in my dad because now it's like everything over the last 20 years, everything we've done was for me and my racing and building it up. And, I had opportunities and sponsorships and this, that, and the other, but it was all like towards one goal. That was like my best interest in mind. Well, now it's like, yeah, my son's only a year and a half, but if he wants to do it, then everything that we've worked for the last 20 years is for him, and if he doesn't, that's fine. We'll figure it out. I'll be a little heartbroken, but it's kind of
Maybe
given
he'll
us
pick
almost
up
a whole new
baseball.
purpose. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. I'll buy his little ass a new glove, bat, ball every damn game.
There you
It'll be a
go.
lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh man, when can they start in that juice box division? That might be a good start.
I'm not sure when, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't already look up how much they are, when I can get them, and what we can do to them. So,
There you
actually,
go.
it's funny you bring that up. Me and Dad talked about that a couple days ago. So, he's already got one of the little strollers that's a replica of my modified, and the same wrap and everything. So, when we say, "Cannon, where's your race car?" he goes and gets it. So.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be picking up baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, last night, that was another thing that sucks having, all this time off this summer with the rain. It's a huge, like, kind of, progression period in his age to where it's like, I want that boy at the racetrack eating dirt, whatever the hell he wants to do. And last night, man, we got to the track. We got to Alltech last night, probably about 5 o'clock, and my fiance, my sister, and the kids left probably about 11, and he didn't stop from the second he got there until he got back in the car to go home. So it was cool.
Hey. Alrighty. So tell us about your favorite racing memory you've got.
I've had some cool ones. Back, like I said, back when I was 18, I had a pretty big time sponsor. I had a protein company that was kind of behind me, and I got to run, speed weeks over at New Smyrna and super late models for a big team that was over there, and really had a lot of opportunities. First sign out, ran second to David Rogers. My super late model debut, and then the second night, won it, outran Stephen Wallace and Kyle Benjamin, Stephen Assey, all those hot shots, from 10, 12 years ago, and some of them are still at it today. Bubba Pollard, and and that was always like the pinnacle of, I was like, until I make it to that next step, I don't think nothing's going to top that. And while that's still one of the coolest 2-week stretches of my life, because on my way home from that deal, I got a call from Dick Anderson to come drive his super late model at Citrus the next week. So that was a pretty surreal 2 weeks, but I never thought anything would top that. And then my son's first ever race last year, one of my last asphalt races over at Auburndale, I was able to win, and it was his first ever race, and that was pretty cool. I mean, it was just a 50 lapper at Auburndale, nothing special, but just having my little guy there for that, and it was a pretty cool night. So, and then obviously, now with the dirt, I was a couple years ago, my first ever dirt start over at Hendry. I was able to look into a win there. So I've had some pretty cool moments that I won't ever forget. At least, like I said, until if he ever decides to do it, I'm sure all my memories and accolades will definitely be second fiddle to what hopefully he does.
There you go. Alrighty. So, what class do you want to end up in, your dream class, and where do you want to race at?
I'm there, man. I'm
Yeah.
we're at right where I'm at. I'm 31, which yes, I know I'm not old, but like I said, I've done this for a long time, and growing up, my goal was obviously, my dream was NASCAR, but at least in the local division, is I wanted to race super late models and be competitive in those, and we did that, and I finally was like, all right, this is ridiculous, the amount of money we're spending to only race a couple times a year and still be behind. And we did really well with what just my dad and I had. And, I did a lot of learning and all the setup stuff, and a lot of that was on my own. I did have some help, but most of it was on my own. And I finally, like I said, just got to the point to where it's like I was just ready to cut back. I was racing 40 to 50 times a year and, just getting burnt out. So that was really it. Once I realized that the NASCAR deal wasn't going to happen, and I had to kind of make a career. And now I'm just, we got it under the dirt. And fortunately, over the years, I've had, really good sponsorship help that's helped me to be able to get 2 cars. And, right now I've got, my dirt. Well, I've still got my asphalt modified that I'm trying to sell, but I've got my dirt modified. And then we just fortunately were able to get a dirt and street stock. And, man, I tell you, I'm having fun. And that's, I'm there to win and there to run good, but I'm learning every night. And, I go to the racetrack with the right intentions. So when I go with my asphalt car, nothing is really acceptable if I'm not winning, and it kind of turns me into an asshole. So, kind of past that point. So yeah, I'm there. I'm doing what I want to do, and ride this wave until my little man gets 3, 4, 5 years old, and we decide to get him into something and start his journey.
There you go. So, no desire to get in a late model. You're happy with the modified and the street stock.
Before we bought this street stock, we'd really contemplated, because I had a fresh 604 here at the house, that wasn't really going in anything. I didn't really have any purpose for it. So we definitely entertained the idea of going, 604 racing, but I was like, kind of trying to, look into the future. I told my dad, I was like, we're going to end up doing the exact same thing that we did with the asphalt late model stuff. And we're going to end up having to get, invest on all the shops and fortunately I have a lot of the gale force and the bump stops. I have a lot of that stuff from what I've known in the past and what I've done in the past, but I was like, I don't have the time for that anymore. And I don't want to be, in the shop, 3-4 hours, 5 hours a night, every night. It's just not where I'm at anymore. So, I'd be open to any opportunity, dirt or asphalt, to
There
get,
you go.
kind of jumping back up and kind of getting into those higher classes. But man, I'm really happy where I'm at, and if something happens, it'll happen. If not, I'm good where I'm at.
Well, I can tell you a lot of the people that I've talked to that have run both a street stock and a late model say the street stock's a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, and how I even got kind of into the street stock deal is last year, actually right at a year ago, Jeff Stallnaker up in Ocala, the SRE racing team, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, bud, give me a call." And I didn't know him at all. I'd heard of them and I'd seen that they had really nice equipment and really cool stuff. And he was like, told me to give him a call. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'd love to have you come race my street stock, but I'll take this weekend." And obviously, my answer was absolutely, But my first question is, hey man, I hope this doesn't change your mind, and I hope this doesn't make me come across like an asshole. But why the hell are you calling me? I ain't done a damn thing. And at that point, I'd only had probably 8 to 10 starts on dirt, period. So, and he had told me, he's like, hey, a lot of the guys that are his friends are old asphalt guys, right? Who made that switch over to dirt, and he wanted to put kind of me in one and LJ in another, and just kind of see what we could do and have some fun because his regular drivers were all out of town. So, so we did that and ran second to I don't remember the hell it was. I think it was like Devin Walker or one of those guys. But long story short, Ivan at Lloyd drives one of his cars, and Ivan, I didn't know him. I knew of him, but I didn't know him, and we got to talking, and he kind of echoed the same thing. A lot of these guys get back into these street stocks, and they have so much fun on quite literally a very small fraction of the money.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that sounded like it was right up my alley, and they're expensive cars to get into, but hell, last night, man, after the race, my tires looked just as good as they did when I went out. So we'll grind the bastards and go racing again next week.
There you go. I've always said it with a street stock. Once you get into it, it's cheaper to race a street stock than it is a go kart, even week to week basis.
Yeah, it's obviously I'm only week one into it, and a little bit of sheet metal damage, and obviously we can beat that back out. But
Yeah.
no, you're right, man. It's all basic stuff. And that's really the easiest part is, you don't have to have 800 horsepower to have fun, and go fast, really, because the speed is relevant. If you're racing against 50 guys who have the same stuff, fast is fast. Doesn't matter how much motor you have or whatever. So,
Yeah.
I like it. There's still a lot for me to learn. Last night I didn't make one change. A lot of things, with me right now are still I just need laps. And, so once I get to where I feel like I can kind of pinpoint and know what I need, I'm just going to go out there and just keep making them and just hope for the best.
There you go. And had you run Alltech at all before jumping in that street stock for the first time?
No, only last year with Stallmaker and his street stock. That was the only time. Believe it or not, actually, that's a lie. I ran a mini cup there when it was asphalt when I was probably like 11.
There you go.
Yeah. So yes, but no, not at all.
Yeah, we ran the King of the Streets last year up there, and the last time I had been there before that, it was an asphalt track, and I was there watching Jeff Conyers with his legacy car back. So it had been a while since I'd been up there.
Yeah, I think both asphalt there and then also legacy cars shows how long ago that was.
There you go.
I'm not sure there's even a thing anymore.
Not down here. I think there's a little bit of them up north, but not down here at all.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you got any favorite drivers? Anybody you look up to? Any heroes?
Obviously, growing up, it was my uncles, right? It's really anymore, at least on the professional level, it's hard to because I've raced with a lot of those guys that are around my age, and half of them are hacks, and they just had a lot of money. So, I kind of think NASCAR is a joke anymore.
Yeah.
And the last, but yeah, on the dirt world for sure, I'm a huge JD fan, and I think he's just like, believe it or not, as good as he is and as much as he's done, he is still like an under the radar guy who, like, can be counted out, but you never should, So no, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the sport, like, and I just, I just like good racing. I think if you can throw sliders and you can, you got guys who, I love technical racetracks. I love when, when it's like, all right, this guy was falling back, but then he found something that worked by just constantly searching. It's not more of, I guess, an idolized type thing, but it's more of like a respect because it's like that dude's a badass.
There you go. Yeah.
So.
All right. Are there any rule changes you'd like to see made? And that could be anything: dirt, asphalt, street stock, modify, whatever you think. Is a change that you'd like to make at all?
I hate and really the only place that I think this is really even a huge issue is East Bay, but like I hate tire prep. I think it's bullshit. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't do it. I mean, if you go to East Bay and you don't tire prep, then and you run like shit, it's your own fault, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most people know that. So, but I like that most tracks are pretty cracking down on that. I mean, hell, I went to East Bay this year and I tried to protest some tires and they wouldn't let me. I had cash in hand. And they told me they don't do that there. I said, "Well, that's horseshit."
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'd say as far as the street stocks go, I think that it would be, and like I was talking to a couple guys like Patrick Menega last night up there, and it's, I think being that, those things are slowly turning into like just a stock clip late model, probably what a limited late model was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
If I had a guess, I'm not that knowledgeable about the dirt racing from years past, but I would say maybe like the grooving and the siping. I mean, I know that that's something that is obviously an advantage, and everybody can do it for fairly cheap. But it is a very time consuming thing, right? And not that I know a ton about it, but I have done a lot of reading, and it's like, it's one of those things that just allows the big money guy to kind of have an advantage, in my opinion, because you can group and sipe tires a million different ways, right? Based on track conditions. And it's like, well, I'm not going to the racetrack with, 5 or 6 right rear tires that are different, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Group or sipe,
I got 2 sets of tires at most.
Exactly, and so, like I said, I'm not really as knowledgeable as far as that goes as I should be to really comment on a ton of that stuff. I do like. I know it's a very controversial subject, but I do like the idea of crate racing for affordability. Now, I haven't done my homework to price out what a built motor would be. A built motor 2-barrel combo would be versus a 602 4-barrel combo. But as long, I feel like with the street stock deal, they kind of, from what I can tell, have it pretty good as far as like motors and weight and all the rules to where they're both kind of even. I mean, I drove by a couple built motors last night. But it's like, with a 350 horsepower 602, I could buzz my tires under caution to where it's like you ain't supposed to do that. So you got to get the power to the ground, right? So, I think that's what's the beauty of those cars is that getting the power to the ground is hard. And it's that's kind of the why we went the direction we went. So I would say, if anything, the grooving and the siping, I know they kind of went to a lot of that because of tire shortages during COVID and whatnot. But if that is indeed what their reasoning was, and it's like, all right, why are we still doing it?
Right. Yeah. I know it is a lot of extra work. But,
yeah. Well, unfortunately, with the street stock and the longevity of the tires, to where you don't have. It's not like you're putting on a new set every week. It's not quite as bad, but I mean, still, right? You still want to keep fresh stuff on your car, and it's just another step that I don't know if it's even really necessary. I mean, if everybody's playing by the same rule, then what the hell's the difference if we do it or we don't, right?
right.
I think Josh just started grooving tires, didn't he?
Yeah.
He used to never do it.
About Winter Nationals time. I think it was you and Brandon actually was the ones that showed me how to do it because I had no clue on what I was doing with it.
Hey, dude, I do it, but that don't mean I know what the hell I'm doing, but I do it. I've probably ruined a good couple brand new tires and don't even know it. So.
I ruined one of Josh's because I was like, "What do I do here?" And because you just tell me which way to cut, and I cut it. I'll get it done in no time. And they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh
like
yeah, just do this," and I'm like, "Okay." And then I asked another question. Nobody gave me an answer, so I brought the tires home and did them. And I take them back the next day, and they're like, "That one's a little bit too cut up." And I was like, "Nobody fucking told me." I
that's
asked.
right.
You didn't
That's
answer,
right.
so I figured it out myself.
Yeah, yeah. What do you notice? Just it's like okay, yeah, you ask for help or get people's ideas, but their opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they're probably all wrong. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done as much reading as I can and went on the internet and made my best opinions and started cutting away. And like I said, I just realized that my damn grooving iron came in more than one size damn blade. So I was like, well, shit, I'm using this big ass blade and I'm wasting money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first thing I did was switch to the smallest one I could. But it just
Yeah.
seems like when you can do more cuts with a smaller blade, it seems to work out better than few cuts with a big blade.
Well, like we
Right.
were only allowed to use the number 1 for a while.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, you're putting a small line in there, and then we walked by at Volusia when we were last there, and people are using the number 3 blade, and they're putting
Yeah,
in
and that's just it, right? Like, I mean, let's get everybody on the same playing field. These things are, the tracks are hard enough to kind of get a hold of and whatnot as it is. Like, especially on the local level, I think like I said, I'm a lazy ass, so it's less work too. So,
right.
And now that you bring it up, one of the arguments I've heard against tire prep is people saying, well, if I don't know how to do it, then I'm going to get beat by guys that know how to do it. Well, now you bring up the point that if somebody knows how to, cut tires better, now they're at an advantage. So maybe you're right. Maybe it all needs to go away.
well, I mean, think about it. You know what I mean? Like, we're all racers. We want to win, right? I mean, yeah, we're gonna do our best to learn it, but if I mean, like, look at, you get, especially in the asphalt world, dude. You got crew chiefs on a damn sportsman, like because it's people who don't know it. You're gonna get the guy that's gonna go pay that guy to prep or cut or whatever his tires, and so it's like not only am I getting beat by it, I'm getting beat by somebody who ain't got a damn clue who's going to pay somebody else to do it for him.
Yeah, that sportsman class blows my mind when I heard someone say, yeah, that's a $90,000 roller with a $10,000 motor in it. I'm like, what?
I tell you what, dude, and that's the craziest thing. Like I'm the winningest driver in that Wheelman Series deal, like so in the history so far. And I was fortunate to drive for some really good people. And the last family that I drove for, Todd and Tanya Brown, Todd built that car, had a user in, used transmission, and he built it from the ground up. And it was good, and it was like, and I know it pissed people off who were going to buy these $70,000-$80,000 cars. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. And the street stocks are getting the same way. There's $90,000 street stocks now, which, I put about 30 into mine, and I thought I had a big money car, and then next thing I know, I'm a small money car now.
Yeah, well, and that's just it, right? No, people aren't going to stop on by themselves. So it's like the more things you allow, the more things people are going to try to get away with. And I mean, hell, there's that car that's like a Bloomquist replica, that Mickey Square something up in the Mississippi area. That's a bad bitch, and I ain't taking nothing away from it. But it's like, man, I saw the price tag that he put that thing for sale for. It's like, man, I can go out in the first corner with some hack or hell myself and wad that damn thing up.
So
And
what's your
that's
opinion on putting a quick change in a street stock? Is it overkill, or is changing a pumpkin just overrated?
So back when I raced legend cars, they had it was like a cut down 9 inch. It was the same type of deal. Pull the axles, pull the drive shaft, pull the chunk out. And it was a bitch. We didn't have a lift, nothing but now fortunately we have a lift to where it's not that bad, but I like the idea of quick change, but at the same time, like Rich Pratt, he's somebody who I talk to a lot for kind of some advice and whatnot. And, he's mentioned and other people mentioned that it's like, even if they allowed it, there's going to be a lot of guys that don't go that route because even though you can kind of fine tune a gear at the track, you got more drag, right? So when you
Right.
don't got a lot of motor and whatnot, so I like the idea of it, and I probably wouldn't, I've only got two chunks right now. I got an Alltech chunk, and then at least what I'm told is a good for an East Bay chunk, and it's like, I'm gonna have to probably dump a couple grand into center sections and pumpkins and whatnot, and it's like I'm sure going to be pissed off if they start allowing quick changes, and I could have just bought a whole rear end for what I've got these pumpkins for.
I know, man. It's
It's
insane how much a
2024.
chunk
They need to be
costs.
allowed. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's we're not in the 90s anymore, even the 2000s. Quick changes need to be allowed, in my opinion. I mean, there's zero, added cost, especially for people coming in. Like me, I've got every gear you can imagine from. I've raced, New Smyrna on asphalt. I've raced Hendry County on dirt. All, you know what I mean? Like I've got everything in between, and it's like, man, I could buy a rear end and put it in my car for the price that two pumpkins is going to cost me,
Right.
and I have every gear I'll ever need. And then still, it's not like the 9 inch is obsolete because I think the Thunderstock guys run it. There's still asphalt guys that run it, so where it's like, okay, then I can still get rid of my pumpkins, help somebody else out, sell them something a little bit cheaper that's still a good piece,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
then really who's losing? Nobody, in my opinion. So I think it'd be a good thing for the class, and I think it would attract even more people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
It's
when
also
one track
tired,
rains
man.
out and you think about going to another one, and then you go, well, do I really feel like changing a chunk out today?
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a really good point.
yeah. All
We'll also
right.
be doing a rain dance when that happens.
Yeah.
My ass to come home and change the pumpkin. Hell, earlier this year, man, we were gonna race. Volusia. It rained on Thursday. We were gonna race Hendry, so we swapped the modified over. We were gonna go Hendry Friday night. It rained out. So then Saturday morning we woke up, put the motor in the asphalt car, went to Auburndale. So it's like
There
it
you go.
had that been three different chances in the street stock. After the second time changing the gear, I would have said, "Screw this, we're gonna stay home."
I feel you there. All right. So tell us, what time have you been the most nervous behind the wheel?
Probably that's shit. Probably my first dirt race, even though it was at Hendry and there's only 10 cars. But I mean, I've went off in there and spun out by my damn self in front of the whole field before. So, but no, in all honesty, probably my first super race. I started on the outside pole at New Smyrna against the best in the country. There's 40 cars at New Smyrna for speed weeks. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I was what was I 17 or 18 then, and kind of getting thrown to the wolves. And I used to be like, my first lap of a race would be like a half a second slower. You know what I mean? Like it took me a lap to get up. But so the nerves used to get to me then. But man, I tell you what, I still get the butterflies, the nerves, and everything now before every race, like I always have. But as soon as as soon as it's time to hammer down, I'm relaxed, I'm calm, and just as good as ever. So I think that's why I love it, right? I mean, the nerves, it's that adrenaline rush that until you miss out on that adrenaline rush, you don't realize how much you missed it, like having it.
So I know you've raced, like you said, New Smyrna, and you're used to the speed. But did the lack of traction at Alltech get you at all? Did that make you nervous at all?
I love that shit, man. Put syrup on it and let me go. I think all my years of asphalt racing, I feel like I've got pretty decent throttle control. And yeah, make it slicker. It's not slicker the better. You know what I mean? Like and that's truthfully. I mean, Alltech's a lot of the reason we kind of even got into the street stock class because they're so popular there and whatnot. And so yeah, make it slicker. Slicker the better. Just don't rubber up and make it really finesse.
Yeah, I will say that track is a lot of fun in a street stock.
Oh, dude, it's so much damn fun.
All right, so what made you actually switch over to the dirt? I think you mentioned it a little bit. LJ kind of helped you switch over, but was there anything that made you really say, you know what, I'm tired of this asphalt deal. I want to give it a shot.
Yeah,
Tired of being there at 7 o'clock in the morning for the
you
asphalt
are
race.
you hit the nail on the head, dude. So it was like I did the math, and like my first 5 races this year, 4 were on dirt, 1 was on asphalt, and I was at the track more in the one asphalt race that weekend than I was all other dirt races up to that point combined, right? And and it's with the asphalt stuff, it's like even though on Friday nights I'm going and I'm just going to shake it down, make sure everything's good, pick out tires, get them mounted up, do just the little odds and ends that it's not like I'm going there to try to find speed. I would still lose my shit if I didn't go on Friday night because I'd be like, I wouldn't sleep. You know what I mean? Like wondering, what the hell's going on, make sure my stuff's right, worried that I just was behind. And, but yeah, really the biggest thing was like LJ and I talked about it. He finally just did it, sold his car. He only had one car at the time. So he went all in. And then I finally had the realization that like the super late model racing is just stupid on asphalt. Like it just there's absolutely no other word to describe it except for stupid. It's completely stupid. And I finally I sold it. And Ricky Moxley, a lot of people know Ricky Moxley, Finish Line Site Development. He had a car for sale that was actually like 5 minutes from my house up at Sean Smith at Brendan Smith's shop. And he made me a deal and worked with me, and it was one lap and I was sold. It was like, and it's because it brought the fun back, right? Like, you don't even realize it, but on asphalt, I wasn't really having that much fun doing the asphalt racing anymore because it's turning so much to follow the leader. It was fun winning. It's fun getting on the front stretch and everybody, cheering on you and whatnot and all the publicity. It's all fun, but I started kind of like looking back and like, it's only fun under one circumstance. So once I started the dirt, man, it was just everybody was kind of like more involved. I could leave the house, especially at East Bay, 45 minutes away. I could leave the house at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the damn afternoon. And it just stressed me out at first, to be honest, because I felt like I was late. But yeah, once fortunately I still had one asphalt car in case I didn't really love the dirt. But once I started, man, it's just like the asphalt car started getting more and more neglected. And it's sitting here right now. I've got all kinds of new stuff on it, but it's just like I don't have the desire to go spend $1,500 to hopefully win $1,500 or lose my ass, which is what happens most of the time.
Right. We got a little comment here from Mr. Billy Barstow. Yeah, I don't have the best connections with Ricky Moxley. He decided that my Jim Morgan Memorial last year was supposed to end on lap like 7, so that was fun. But it was and it was one of the moments, like you said, I was seeing red, man.
Yeah, no, he, ultimately, I've never really raced with him, but he's a good dude, good for the sport. You guys know as much as I do. It takes a lot of people, both people that like, publicly that people know about, and then just the people who are like, hey, man, I like you. I've had like an eye on you, and if I can help you, let me know, right? And not that I have much, but I try to do that too. Like I said, it's tough to do, right? Doing it all on our own and stuff, but it's just the good people, and that's ultimately what the sport, what kind of keeps us going. The racing's fun, but the people that you meet and stuff is really the coolest part. And on the asphalt deal, I was getting so caught up in the drama, like anymore it's like it's ridiculous, just the cliques and the friends and well, you dumped him and I don't like you and you're an asshole and you won too many races, and I was just too much in the middle of it, and we just decided just to kind of get out of it. And now we go to the dirt track, and I may know 3, 4, 5 people, but most people I've never seen in my life before. They don't know me. And usually I meet people at the end of the night after we've either thrown a door shot or something at each other and said, hey, man, sorry, let's go drink a beer, right? Like that's kind of what it's about anymore. So, yeah, it's it's just, it all kind of goes hand in hand, and I'm really happy with where I'm at, and looking, I need to win some damn races. So hopefully here soon I can start getting this dirt stuff figured out and win a couple.
There you go. Yeah, the little bit that we've been to some asphalt racing, it seems like everybody just wants to get mad over, touching Nerf bars, and mostly on dirt, everybody gets along. Just last week, me and Kyle Bowman, he kind of doored me for second heat race, and at the end of the night, the first thing I asked when I seen him was if he was all right, because he got destroyed in the feature. I didn't even care about getting doored to heat race. I just want to make sure he was all right.
Well, and that's the thing about asphalt, man, is the damn cars are so easy to drive anymore that if somebody, I almost slipped. If somebody is an asshole, it was on purpose. Right?
You got to call somebody out.
Oh no, I've done and that's part of what it's like. You know what? I'm kind of over that. Like before, I'd have been like, hell yeah, so and so's a dickhead. But it's like the cars are so easy to drive anymore, and everybody's so. And it's not a knock on the cars or even the product. There's a lot of damn smart people in Florida. Like there's a lot of smart people, both dirt and asphalt. And And I mean, physics are it is what it is, right? Like you're not going to be able to go any faster than what is just possible. Like, and when you got a lot of guys who are really smart who can make cars really fast, you get people who's like, oh man, qualifying, we got 15 cars within a tenth of a second. It's going to be a hell of a race. No, you're going to tear shit up, or you're not going to have any passing. Those are your only two options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like asphalt's move or be moved anymore.
That's exactly it.
I
So
feel like people they just put the car in there. They think it'll fit there.
well,
it's
and you have spotters, right? So it's like I know if you're driving through me or you're using me up, it's because one, that's the only way you're going to get by me, or two, somebody's in your ear not telling you the right information. So
right.
That's why people get so pissed off, because there is no margin for error, because everybody's gotten so good, so smart, so fast, and we're racing slot cars. On dirt, you don't have all those. You don't have mirrors. You don't know who's around you. You don't know this shit. So if you go off in there and rub somebody, hey, didn't mean to. But if you go in there and do it a second or third time, then you're going to start getting kind of pissed off. So, and it's unfortunate that I've kind of seen both sides of it. And man, dirt racing is a lot more laid back, and that's really my favorite part about it.
So who's your biggest rivals on the asphalt scene?
I've had some over the years. A lot of it was like having to earn respect, right? I mean, we were coming into it younger, and the older generation, the guys that were my age now and older. I mean, put it this way: in the asphalt world, you've got Colton Bettis in a sprint car. He's
Zach
the
loves
young up. He's the young up and comer who is wearing these guys' ass out. But you've got these older guys who they're okay with it now, but don't give it just a little bit of time. You're gonna get somebody who's over there who's gonna get pissed off and gonna start throwing jabs because he's a young guy. But
and I'll tell you, Colt, man, he's a really good kid. He's a hardworking kid, and he's very, very well versed. I was fortunate enough to see him at some of the go-kart races, and even see him working around his grandpa's property. Man, the kid can operate a loader and everything better than most adults. Man, he's a hardworking kid.
Yeah, well, and that's right, exactly. You're spot on. But and he's gonna deal with that. He's gonna deal with people who don't like him right now, but in 10 years they're gonna look back and they're gonna start racing good and hard. And they're gonna look back and laugh. And I had the same instance with like Wayne Jefferson. When we first started racing modifieds. I mean, every week we were knocking out center links, either arm, pitman arms, the whole 9 yards, because we were dooring each other. And then we got to where we could race hard, and I earned that respect. So so that's really it. Like I said, I'm never, me and Wayne, we had issues when we were younger, or when I was younger, and we grew past those. Me and Cody Stickler, we grew past those. We've had them, but usually they don't last too long. Some of the people I was associated with had some pretty deep rivalries that I got caught up in. But I just don't have the time or energy for it anymore. So if you don't like me, I've kind of always been this way. If you don't like me, I don't give a shit. So
there you go. That's the mentality you got to have these days, man.
Yep.
So have you had a chance to make any rivals on dirt, or is there anybody else you just like racing with?
No, man. I mean, I had, I woke up this morning to a couple Facebook messages of guys who were like, man, I had a lot of fun racing with you last night up at Alltech, so I haven't really made any rivals. I don't really know enough people to, I've had to go apologize a couple times because I thought I was in the wrong. So I'm still learning as far as like, I guess the racecraft of what's acceptable. Like I threw a hell of a slider last night and I was like, man, I hope it sticks. And I went down after the race. I was like, hey man, I hope I gave you enough room. He goes, dude, you cleared me by like 6 car lengths. You're plenty good. So
there you go.
I've really tried to be like humble about like, and cautious, of making sure that I'm doing things the right way. I don't want to come in and just be that douchebag that thinks he was good on asphalt, so he's going to come in here and be that way on dirt. So, yeah, man, I don't have the time and energy for that anymore. And it's going to happen. There's no doubt, it's going to still happen, but, I'd rather just be like, hey dude, I didn't mean to, let's drink a beer and go on to next week. So
don't ever do it to the guy you're parked next to though.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately,
then loading up is just awkward.
Yeah, well, it's funny. We're reorganizing our trailers, selling our pit box and stuff. And last time we took some stuff out of our pit box, and my old lady, she can get feisty. And I said, hey, babe, if shit hits the fan, this is where you need to go, got their jack handle, a couple steel rods, shit like that.
There you
You never
go.
know what might go down around here.
If we got to get after it, this is our oh shit pile over here.
I like to carry me a throwing wrench when I go with Brandon with his late model. Yeah, there you go. Miss Barstow wants to see you come out to East Bay with your street stock at least.
I'm gonna try to. I gotta look at the schedule. And
We got
I,
one
I
more
want
race.
to.
2 more.
If they only got like I said, we may my old man's probably listening to this. We may try to bring both cars for the Dixon.
There you
We'll
go.
just have to see. I mean, obviously we'll be their priority for the for the modified, but at the end of the day, I hate showing up at the racetrack without a chance to at least win. And I got a set of tires for the street stock and then another 3 tires, and I really don't want to prep any of them. So we'll see. That to
Yeah.
be determined.
They do race on the 28th, though. September.
So, oh, that's just coming. Yeah, see,
Yeah,
so they're racing,
This
Altec's
weekend?
racing, and Ocala's racing.
Oh,
we with East Bay having some rainouts, we've actually been on the schedule for the last 2 weeks, and then for next weekend and the week after that. So I'm currently on week 2 out of 4, and I'm worn the slap out.
I can imagine. Yeah, I unloaded today. I didn't wash, but I unloaded. And the only reason I unloaded is because my son loves going on golf cart rides at night, and the golf cart was in the trailer. So that shows how much of a priority getting ready for next week is right now.
right.
There you go. All right, so tell us, how did your night go last night up at Altec?
It was good, man. We like I said, I'd never been in the car before. We bought it 2 months ago, and we've quite literally loaded up 6 different times in the last probably month to go racing. We loaded up the street stock, got rained out. We had to load up the modified, get rained out, unload it, and like we did that like 3 weeks in a row. It was stupid. And so there's 25 cars. Started in the trunk for the heat race, and just still kind of feeling it out. Finished 5th. And then started 15th in the feature. They started us 3 wide, which holy shit, I thought that was kind of chaos. But it actually went fine. Like I don't think there was like a caution until lap 2. So started us 3 wide, started 15th, and I mean drove up to 6th. I think we were up to like 4th at one point, maybe 5th. But I mean like drove up there. Didn't really have any. I think 1 or 2 guys might have fallen out, but I just learned a lot as far as moving around. And I'm not used to having something with kind of as little power as the 602. So, going from the modified to where I can kind of gas it. If it ain't going to turn, I can kind of drive it with a throttle and get it back around to where last night I was like, all right, this damn pig ain't going nowhere. So, but yeah, ran 6th, which there was a lot of really nice, expensive, brand new cars around me that I was like, I think it's pretty respectable for our first night out. So, I got in. The first thing I told my dad is we got our money's worth out of this car on the first night. So that's how much fun I had. So
Did you get up there by the wall and run it all, or did you stay a little further away?
oh no, I got 1 or 2 times closer to the wall than I wanted to. But I found a little bit of success in 1 and 2, kind of like entering like a car length and a half off the wall and just kind of sliding through the middle and kind of up on the fence up off the 2. So. I even on asphalt, it's kind of an inside joke in our family here that if I'm going to win a race on asphalt, I'm going to at least bounce off the fence 1 time, anyways. Obviously down the straightaway, right? But so yeah, I'm excited to as I learn and gain kind of that confidence in the car. It won't be long till I'm up there at least experimenting it. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, Altec's a lot of fun in the street stock, man. And I think the thing that surprised me the most was how unintimidating it really is up by the wall, because you don't really drive it off in there like you think you would.
Right.
You kind of run the bottom and the top the same way.
Yeah, and truthfully, I think that's somewhere where I'm going to kind of excel, like on asphalt. That's been my we raced at Cletus at Freedom Factory last year, and Cletus came up to me after qualifying. I qualified like 5th or 6th. He said, "Is there a reason why you drive it in like 6 car lengths deeper than anybody else?" And I said, "Because it'll stick, and if not, we're going to work on it to make it stick." Like that's always been my mentality, and I think it's going from legend cars. And so, like last night, we'd get single file, and I'd be able to start running down the guys in front of me, and that's where I was able to kind of make up a lot of ground was on entry. So it won't be long where I've got to I'll be finding the point of no return when it comes to overdriving it. But until then, I'm gonna drive the shit out of it.
There you go. So you got any plans of coming down for like the Jim Morgan Memorial or the King of the Streets, any of the big races?
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's one at Hendry like coming up beginning of December. We're gonna try to get to, and then yeah, I'm gonna next year we're gonna run the King of the Streets at Alltech. I think we're gonna try to take both cars up to that Southern Heritage Classic at Needmore. Um, should we be there? Are we good enough to be there? I don't know. Are we gonna go there and give it hell? Absolutely. So,
Josh
we
goes
like
every year.
we do what?
So Josh goes to some of these races. He just gives it hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right? What the hell? I mean, at the end of the day, we're all older now. We're all working for a living. I mean, I don't give a damn what nobody thinks about me. I'm gonna go there and have fun. And like I said, at the end of the night, win, lose, or draw, we're going to drink beer and have a good time. So.
Yeah, it's the Jim Morgan Memorial is what's coming up. That's 92 laps around Hendry County, and I can tell you, you'll probably have a lot of fun at that event because any of the big events in Hendry County, it gets so black that you basically drive it like it's asphalt. I mean, you're hard on the brakes on entry, and then you get in the car pointed and just keeping it as straight as possible. I think you'll do really well down there in a street stop.
Yeah, I think that's my preference right now because I've found early success with it. You know what I mean? That kind of racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Hendry being it was my first dirt win. It's got a little special place in my heart, and I just want to race anymore. I don't want to deal with none of the bullshit. I just want to race and have fun, and we can win a few. That's great. But in learning the learning a whole new aspect is a lot of fun for me too.
Yep, there you go. Well, we look forward to seeing you at some of these big races, man. Hopefully, we'll see you out at East Bay in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll try to be there. Like I said, we'll at least be there in the modified. If all goes well, we'll tow the street stock along too. And but I gotta go. I gotta go get my boy, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Old lady just got home. We're about to do dinner, and my ass is dragging. That dust last night was kicking my ass.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody else you want to thank, man, if not, we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, man, family and friends. That's what it is. It's I've got a couple guys. My stepdad's a huge help, and then our buddy Tom, man, he you know I'm sure you guys can relate. It's not like we got all the money in the world to throw these guys pit passes and pay them and shit. And it's like if we can get one or two guys that are good, reliable help that they don't have to be knowledgeable, just be willing, right? Be willing to
Mhm.
do whatever's kind of asked, and we can reward them with beer and some pizza every once in a while. And
Hey, I'm fine with that.
right, it goes a long way. People don't realize sometimes that goes a long way. So, and I've had some sponsors over the years. Right now Marlin Dunn Contracting, they've been a real big, supporter of my racing over the years. And I mean, he's probably been with me for 15 years now. And then New Southern Concrete, Cook Construction, just people come and go, and it's yeah, I'm naming off businesses, but it really has nothing to do with the businesses, right? It's the people. So just thankful to have good friends and family in my corner, and just like I said, I got to win some races to keep them around.
There you go. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good one.
See ya.
All right, so that was Devin McLeod, the open wheel modified turned street stock driver. Man, Zach, we had a interesting night at East Bay though last night, didn't we?
I did. I don't know about I don't know about you, but I didn't have an interesting night. I was just kind of laid back, relaxed.
That sprint car race wasn't anything funny for you.
Oh no, I mean it was interesting. It was fun, but I wasn't tied to nobody, but just moving the antique car out of the way.
There you go. Oh man, yeah. We got a couple quick weeks of covering. Took streets I got to East Bay last 2 weeks. Ended up 6th out of 20 last week. Was in contention for a top 5 last night, and just decided to try to move a tractor tire and destroyed the whole front end of the race car. So we'll get that fixed.
After that, it didn't seem like it wanted to drive right.
Yeah, no. Cars don't seem to drive right when the center stripe on your steering wheel is in your right hand.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did a number on that one, so we'll get it fixed, turn around, and come back next weekend. But yeah, that sprint car race last night though was one of the best ones I've seen in a while. But Man, there was a lot of cars flying.
I mean, everybody walked out okay. Everybody was good. Nobody got injured or anything. I mean,
We even had a couple guys get stuck trying to get through the infield.
yeah, we don't know. We don't even know what their train of thought was. It was kind of like follow the leader, and then they both got stuck.
Yeah. Did better than trying to.
What?
I don't know what he.
Did better than did.
I think he. Not sure what exactly he's referring to, but yeah. Had some drama and controversy than I did. Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get Mr. Barstow's car out there last night. We'll try to get it. It's got some mechanical gremlins. We're gonna try to get it figured out and get it back out there next weekend. But probably one of them races where it wasn't a bad idea to stay home because that track was rough last night. But still a lot of fun.
I think that's just how it's going to be the last couple of races.
Yeah, it's what it's looking like.
I mean, it's just the lack of wanting to do the work, or I don't. I mean, I don't really know because it just seems like I'm at the shop, so I mean, I'm not knocking them, right?
Right.
I hear the beeping of the grader, the skid steer. I hear it all.
Mm-hmm.
But then you show up and it's just like, man.
Yeah. Well, and he hasn't.
Doing?
They haven't had the best luck with weather either out there. So.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm not knocking them for if it's a bad racetrack or it's too wet or too dry, because I mean I could hear him and I could see him. I know he's over there doing stuff. You know, somebody's over there doing something.
Right.
And then it's just like by the end of the night, I mean, it just gets too rough, and it's like, geez.
Yeah,
but you can't put enough water down to keep it all night long.
Yeah, I think the only thing they could do is a mandatory roll-in, but that's just.
I don't even know if that would even help.
Maybe not, but oh well. Like you said, we'll get it fixed up. Get back going next weekend. Just want to shout out, got Barstow Transportation, Multi-Roll, LaRoche Wrecker Service, Perman Diesel Solutions, Fatback Racing Engines. Looking
Tractor
forward
tire
to
services.
Tractor
tire services.
Yeah, that I don't know who puts them tractor tires out there, man, but they don't put them in a circle. They put them in a zigzag pattern.
Well, I think somebody hit the tire right before you did.
That's 2 weeks in a row that's happened to me.
I think somebody nudged that tire, and then you come in and nudged it again, and then you spun out. And I'm like, geez, Josh.
That would be 2 weeks in a row.
Somebody try to move it out of your way, and then you go where it went.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Let's try again this weekend, see what happens.
Yeah. Try to keep it going in a straight line. But oh well. Well, like I said, I'm slap wore out. I'm ready to go relax. We got the car tore apart. Go get some front end pieces tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm about to go back my boat up into this parking spot over here so I can have my driveway back.
There you go. All right, buddy. Well, all right. That's been episode 56. We'll catch y'all probably in a couple weeks, I guess. Maybe Brandon will show up for that one.